Hello everybody, I'm glad you're here today. I want to get right to it. This is a dream, an urgent dream that my dad had on the 13th. It goes with another dream that my mom had on the 12th. I'm feeling a little frantic because I've been trying to get this dream videoed for the last 2 hours and I keep running into trouble. So Lord Jesus, bless this moment and let this please be the last take. We can just ask him for that, and please bless this time, Father. All right, I'm going to get right to this dream. It's a little long, so is the interpretation, but hang in there because it's power-packed. So my dad, it started out where he had to get tickets to get to an airplane, and there were two people that were his friends. He didn't recognize them from real life, but they were friends of his that were with him, a man and a woman. As they were going to the airport, they came across a guy who was kind of a con man, friendly, but a con man, and he was a director of a movie, and he was trying to find someone that he could work with to get the sequencing to his scenes, the timing to his scenes accurate. And my dad said, well, I have to catch a flight, but okay, I have a little bit of time. So the director kept telling him to do this and this and this and this. And my dad went along with it for a little bit, but after a while he said, I gotta go. But the director kept insisting that he was still timing him on stuff. But my dad just said, I gotta go. I'm not gonna do this anymore. So at that point, he was back with his two friends that were at the beginning of the dream. And he had his ticket in hand. And he felt this huge sense of running out of time, that he was running out of time. So he had his ticket, and there was a person standing beside him, and he showed him the ticket, and he said, how much longer do I have before the flight takes off? And this person said 30 minutes. You have 30 minutes. And there's a group of people that were in the same boat as my dad. They were all feeling frantic, and they were each all trying to get some means of transportation to the terminal. My dad came to a bus, and it stopped, and the driver opened the door and said, what can I do for you? And my dad said, I need to catch a plane to the so I need to get to the terminal. And the bus driver said, all I have is this seat beside me. So my dad got on the bus, and my dad looked through the front window and said, what's the weather like ahead? And the bus driver said, it's raining and cold. So they were looking out the front window, and about that time it started to rain. Now, excuse me, the rain was coming down, and then it started to hail. The hail got bigger and more intense and more intense. The hailstones got bigger and bigger. Excuse me. And then the hail started cracking the window and breaking the window, coming through the ceiling, coming through the bus. It was horrible. And it was hitting them. The hailstones were hitting them. And the bus driver said, I cannot see. But my dad was able to see the lights coming in the oncoming traffic, the headlights. So he knew they were on the highway because he was able to see the light. And my dad took the steering wheel, and they were getting through it. The driver didn't want to pull over. It was too dangerous. And then finally the hailstorm stopped. The bus driver opened the door to the bus. All the rain, all the water, all the hail flowed out of that bus. They were checking their heads because they had bumps on their heads from the hail. Now, the bus driver dropped my dad off, and he said, you're going to have to find another way to the terminal. When he did that, my dad got off the bus, and the two people were with him, were there, the ones at the beginning, his two friends. They saw a line of people to go to this terminal, but the two friends said, we don't get in that line. We got to go cross country. That's the quickest route there. So they started going cross country, and these two friends started running like super fast. My dad could not keep up with them. He saw them go over a hill, and when he got to the hill, he saw their footprints, but they were nowhere in sight. And it was about that time he looked up and he saw the terminal, and there was a group of people standing outside the terminal. Well, he started walking towards the terminal, but there was this huge gorge in the earth. So he thought, I guess I got to go down in the gorge to get to the terminal. So he went down into the gorge. It was very rocky, very dangerous, and there was a rope that appeared, and he grabbed the rope, and he was able to maneuver his way up the other side. Even when it was snagged across other rocks, he was able to pull the rope up and then keep going. When he got into the terminal, he went inside, and there was a man there, like an usher, who was taking tickets. My dad had his tickets. My dad tore the tickets in part, gave them to the usher, and the usher said, "You're in seat 3A," and he gave the tickets back. My dad went through a curtain, and it was a movie theater, and it was all dark in there. He could not find his two friends. He went up to the front and sat down in this double wide seat. It was 3A. The movie was going on, and a Hispanic man stood up and said, "I want this movie to stop. It's slanderous." And my dad told him to sit down. But my dad kept wondering, where are my friends? And he was like, I'm not supposed to be here. Something's not right. So he finally left, went out the lobby, went outside on the sidewalk. He felt a sense of being alone. He could not find anything familiar. He kept thinking, something is not right. All right. There is that dream. And that dream is, here's the interpretation to that dream. As best I can, I am not very good at this, y'all. I'm just doing the best I can based on what God shows me. I do pray, and I hope that if you're inspired to comment about the meaning of this dream, then I want you to. I will say, this dream ends in kind of a hopeless feeling, and that's where my mom's dream comes in, because it's the hope. So I'm going to bring you that in just a second. The interpretation of this airplane dream, the plane, I think, is salvation. The two friends are the remnant. The director he ran into is the deceiver, Satan. And he's very anxious to get us off track from our objective, the plane. I think the mob of people that were looking for a way to get to the terminal are people that know they've lost their way. They're not sure how to find it. I think the bus are people who are absolutely lost because that bus driver could not see. My dad, who is a believer, was able to see the headlights coming towards him. So even in the midst of a horrible storm, which I think we're going to have one happen, I think there is a storm on the horizon, and it is as big as that big wall of hail. They ran into this big wall of hail. Boom. That is coming in our future. I don't know if it's an EMP, nuclear, World War III, financial collapse. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. But I do believe there's a big event out there in the future. And the people who do not know Christ are going to be blind. They're not going to be able to see the light. My dad could see the headlights. We'll be able to see the light that guides us, which is Christ. Now then, when the bus driver opened the door to the bus, all the debris and all the hail came out of the bus when the door was opened. When we open our door to our hearts, to Christ, all the debris from the storms, all our baggage, all our scars, our wounds, we'll say that. I don't think the scars ever go away, but all the wounds go out the door and are flooded out. Now, granted, we will walk through this storm with unbelievers that will brush against us. We will see it. We may even feel it, but we will be delivered. Okay? The hail that was hailed down in Egypt during the plagues, that was in the process of God delivering his people. Remember that. We're going to be delivered. Christ is coming back. I don't know when, but he's coming. And I'm not sure that 30 minutes, it's getting close to that hour. He had 30 minutes to get to the plane. Time is ticking. Now then, I think the two friends were the remnant, and when they said cross country, I think that represented, and they went so fast, that represented the saints who have gone before us. Hebrews 10 and 11. You know, the ones, the great ones who have gone before us. Look to their lives and follow what they've done. They've already made it there. So that's what I think that means. The gorge, of course, is trials. The movie theater, I think, is the illusion that people are living in this darkness and aren't really, they're watching it but they're not really seeing it. And I think when that Hispanic man got up and said, this is a lie, we are living in the father of lie. He rules this realm. We belong to the heavenly realm as believers, but we need to remember that. And I think that's what that meant. 3a, I think, is a reference to Ecclesiastes 3, chapter 3, verse 3. I'll give that in a minute. So my dad did not belong there in that darkness. He's a believer. He did not belong there. And so that's why he went out. And when he went out, he felt alone and isolated. So I think that's where my mom's dream comes in. I'm trying to see how much time I have. Okay, my mom's dream. This is the hope, y'all. This is the second part to my dad's dream. Okay? Now, before I start this dream, there's a couple of people I need to explain who these people are she's dreaming about. One is Amanda, my daughter Amanda, who passed away when she was 11 years old. She had cystic fibrosis. She was very, very precious to all of us, mainly because she was chronically ill and we were very intense. Her care was very intense. She was also special needs because she had a surgery that caused brain damage when she was 2. So she was very precious, especially to her Nana, to my mom. So that is important in this dream. There's another person in this dream. We call him Bubby. His name's Billy Lynn, but we call him Mr. Bubby. He is our friend and has been forever. And he's also the shepherd of our church. He's also an elder in our church. So he represents the shepherd in this dream. So my mom, and this was very interesting, she dreamt it was Christmas time. Christmas time. And she was in a town somewhere, and there were others with her, but Amanda wanted some cowboy boots. So Mr. Bubby went ahead and found a place. He was going to go find a place that sold the boots. Now, there was a woman's house that Amanda and my mother passed. And in front of that house, there were firemen who were training for a drill. They were working and training to put out fires. She passed them on the way to the boot shop. When they got to the boot shop, there were just sandals there, like Birkenstocks. Crap ton of sandals. They did not want sandals nor need sandals. They needed boots. Mr. Bubby was there, and he said, I know where we need to go, but let's measure Amanda's feet so that when we get there, we'll get the right size for her. So they did that, and then they went on to this other boot shop. And that was the end of that dream. This dream is the hope. You see, Amanda is the child, the precious children. She represents the children of God. That's us. And we are very, very precious to God. And He has provided exactly what we need. And what we need for the future is, it ain't sandals, y'all. It's work boots. It's cowboy boots. All right? Now the shepherd, who's Mr. Bubby, he has gone ahead. Our good shepherd is Christ. He has already gone ahead of us and paved the way for us. And He's going to provide us exactly what we need. He's even going to measure what we need so He'll have it there when we get there. Whatever comes, whatever hailstorm we go through, whatever gorge we go down in, the Good Shepherd has gone before us. And whenever you dream about shoes, that's talking about your path that you are going to be walking. Y'all, we're going to need boots. We're going to need work boots. It ain't time for sandals. So remember that. We are precious to God. And the firemen that are training, there are going to be some of us who are going to be called to put out the fires. And there are going to be some of us who are going to walk this other path. We're each going to have our own path to walk. So that's that dream. Now then, I'm sorry it's windy, y'all. There's not a place inside my house to do that. My family's doing stuff in there. So I'm going to talk real loud to talk over this wind. The 3A in my dad's dream, what I believe was a reference to Ecclesiastes 3, chapter 3, verse 3. Ecclesiastes is written by Solomon, who's the most wisest man ever lived. And here is what he says in chapter 3. It's this everything has a season, a time for everything under the sun, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to harvest. Y'all remember that? When it gets to verse 3, 3A, time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up. I believe that means, if that's what that dream is referencing, there is a time ahead of us that is going to be difficult, but that there will be healing. There's going to be tearing down. I don't know if that's America. I don't know if that's the world. I don't know if that's the New World Order. I don't know. But we're going to see it, and there's going to be a time to build up. Now, if you go on down to verse 14 and 15 of that chapter, if you want to know what's coming, in verse 15 is what is happening now has happened before. And what will happen in the future has happened before, because God makes the same things happen over and over again. So if you want to know what's going to happen to us in the future, study what's happened in the past as far as world civilizations. Y'all, we are on the cusp of nuclear war even more than we were during the Cold War. We are on the cusp of World War III. There are so many fronts that are unraveling right now, and I'm not telling you that to tell you to be afraid, but I'm warning you, get your work boots on. There's hope. You don't need to stand outside on the sidewalk and feel alone at the end of my dad's dream. You see, you need to know the Good Shepherd has gone before us. And I don't think it's an accident my mother received that dream first, before my dad received his dream. You see, it's already been done for us. All right, I'm going to end right now before something else goes wrong with this video. If you have not turned to God, y'all, we are in serious, urgent times right now. Things are changing, and they're changing quickly. I also think on my dad's dream, things are terminal right now. He kept using that word. I mean, granted, it's a place where you catch planes, but it's also a reference to the end. I don't know when Jesus is coming back. I'm not all that concerned about the timing, because I live every moment like it's going to be in the next 30 seconds. So live your life like that, enjoy and rejoicing, and in the meantime, ask him what your path is. What are you meant to do? Put on your boots. Pay attention to what's happening. Don't be lulled into the darkness of the illusion and the lie. All right, that's all I have. If you have any ideas, let me know. I'd love to learn from you. Stay close to God. You are all in my prayers. And Jesus loves you so much. You are precious to him, just like my Amanda is precious to me. All right, until next time, everybody. This is Gina Lima Charlie. I'm out.